That was Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and Giants.
Yeah.
Was this a satisfying game for a Giants hater? Coming as apparently I'm everybody in the NFC and also a Patriots fan as well. Just a couple of stats for you. So coming into this year, no team has ever lost 40-0, had a sack battle of 7-0, a turnover battle 3-0, a blocked field goal for a touchdown, and threw a pick six in the same season. Daniel Jones says, "Hold my beer. We're going to do this in one game." Everyone made fun of me for saying that. Why did you pay Daniel Jones $140 million? This year, he's getting paid $50 million. You couldn't score a touchdown. I get the Cowboys defense is very good, but this is everything we were talking about with the Giants. This is why we had them going 2-15 in our record predictions. This team is not good.
No.
They can't stop the run. They don't have good secondary. And then their offensive weapons, Darren Waller, I mean, I think he'll be a solid receiver for him. But outside of him, like, am I going to believe in Paris Campbell? No. Am I going to believe in Wan'Dale Robinson? No. Your number one receiver, Saquon. Your running back. Yeah. You saw how bad that was for the Chargers last year. Not the move. I think this Giants team, not going to be a very good team. I think my prediction's well on line.
Yeah, and I picked the Giants to win this game for some reason. I don't know why. I think I'm going to remedy it with the fact that I just picked the Giants to jinx them to win this game, because every time I pick the Giants, every time I believe in this team, like, maybe they could give them trouble, because the games versus the Cowboys were pretty close last year. Boy, what an absolute disaster. And I don't even get Daniel Jones fans, because they're like, who else were we going to get? I'm like, sorry, but you got to just rip that Band-Aid off. You can't pay the guy $140 million because he wasn't even good until year 4. The Giants knew that. They declined his option, and basically they're like, yeah, we're going to basically let this guy go after the season, because if they picked up his option and he sucked this year, then they could have easily parted ways with Daniel Jones. So the Giants kind of screwed themselves in the front office that way. Brian Daboll looked lost. He looked pretty frustrated with that team, but you mentioned it. Saquon is your best receiver. Daniel Jones didn't really have any throws over 15 yards. Yeah, guy throws a great out route. 1 yard pass. I'm like, wow, look at that 2-yard cross underneath that Daniel Jones is hitting. It's like, I get it's the Cowboys, but it's also your division rival, and you should have a much better performance than that, especially if you're going to be put on Sunday Night Football. It's completely embarrassing for the Giants. Daniel Jones looked lost, but this is the guy you just paid. And Chris Collinsworth summed it up the best, where he's like, wow, Darren Waller, look at that catch there. It'll be great to have a guy on your team who can make a catch when Daniel Jones throws him a bad pass, and then he can actually make a catch and make something out of that play. And it was just after Darren Waller was in stride, and Daniel Jones throws the ball behind him. He has to grab it. If he led Darren Waller, he probably would have gotten some more yards, probably would have been able to pick up an actual drive. But when Daniel Jones has an open guy, repeatedly throwing it behind him, only throwing 1 yard routes here. So it's like, this is a team that's not dynamic. They are the third best team at best. And last year, they're struggling with the Commanders. And the last thing I'll say about the Giants is, you're not sneaking up on anybody this year. Everyone saw you win those close one possession games. Daniel Jones and his 219 yards a game self was out there winning games, basically grinding the ball up and down the field. But this is something where it's going to blow up in your face this year because you didn't add enough weapons. I know Chris Collinsworth was talking about the speed. Well, sorry, the speed on that team isn't dynamic enough to get you past the Eagles or the Cowboys or even push yourself back into the playoffs again. So all those one possession games, you're not going to sneak up on teams anymore, and they know what offense you run. So this will be interesting to see how Brian Daboll kind of takes a step back and remedies this. It's still week one, however, teams are going to be prepared.
Yeah. I think the Giants are definitely one of those teams that takes a big step back next year. I want to talk about the Cowboys, though, because as much as, the Giants look pretty terrible, Cowboys look really good. Their defense played really well, pressured Daniel Jones on pretty much every play. Their secondary was electric, shutting down the receivers. So I got to give some credit to the Cowboys. It's their first shutout victory since 1995 to start week one, which is the year they won the Super Bowl. For the Cowboys fans, got to give them some fuel there. But I think The Cowboys defense this year does look better than last year. I got to see more tape. They face the Jets next week, so they don't really get a test again until week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But I think their defense is a championship level defense. Now it goes down to their offense. Their offense didn't need to do much last game.
No.
Look at Dak's numbers. They're not amazing. He didn't have to play amazing. That's fine. If Dak Prescott can play at his best self, I think their peak is the NFC title game.
Yeah, I think their peak is definitely the NFC title game. That defense does kick ass. However, there are some run plays where they still had some trouble stopping the run, and Saquon was able to get some good runs off. And then Micah Parsons is definitely a guy that is more interested in rushing the passer than stopping the run. So we'll see if his run defense improves this year. However, the health of Stephon Gilmore is really going to determine this team's trajectory, because I think Dan Quinn is a great defensive coordinator. He's the best coach on that coaching staff right now. So I think the defense was never really our question for the Cowboys. It is the health of Brandon Cooks, the health of Michael Gallup. Those are two guys who have been injury prone the past few years. And then Tony Pollard, how dynamic can he be? Someone in the comments was like, how could you say that Alvin Kamara is better than Tony Pollard? Wasn't talking about this year's Alvin Kamara. I'm talking about those
Prime.
are two guys who always get compared to each other. So it's like compared to prime Alvin Kamara, it's not even a competition. Like, don't even try that again.
Yeah, 100%. And for the Cowboys, also, one last shout I want to give to them is Jake Ferguson, their tight end, rookie tight end. He played well. We'll see. I think they're going to be early season Super Bowl contenders, as they're talking about how hot they start. Let's see how they are when they face the Eagles. Let's see how they are when they face the Seahawks, the 49ers. I need to see them have a true battle test, but week 1, impressive.